in the form of zigzagging lines, shimmering flashing lights, and blind spots.
There's usually like a sunspot, which is the aura, and then it grows, a lot of loss of peripheral vision goes away. Then there's pain. It's not localized, it goes everywhere.
Back in the brain, nerve fibers around the trigeminal nerve release inflammatory chemicals that cause further blood vessel dilation and nerve irritation. Now the headache is in full swing and the pain kicks in. Many migraine sufferers experience skin hypersensitivities, nausea, and vomiting in addition to the pain. And even ordinary light, sound, and smells can be maddening.
Light's not painful to me, but it drives me crazy when I have a migraine. Too much light. Everything seems too bright.
It does feel like something unreal happens to you sometime during these headaches.
Usually it's just like someone slamming a hammer over my head. It's like just all over pain, it's not in one particular place.
Every sufferer describes migraine a little differently, but the common denominator is always disabling pain. For thousands of years, we have struggled to cure the maddening pain of headache, and even risked death to find relief. More than 7,000 years ago, Stone Age neurosurgeons treated headaches by cutting a hole in the skull in a procedure called trepanation.
It consisted of drilling, using sharp instruments of various kinds, a hole in the skull in one or a number of places, presumably to let out the bad humors or vapors or evil spirits that were causing problems, including headache.
Miraculously, some survived the surgery, though it's likely it didn't improve their headaches. Over time, treatments became less extreme, but not necessarily more effective.
There was a famous physician, Thomas Willis, who prescribed a concoction that was made out of wood lice and millipedes, the juice wrung forth and mixed with distilled water.
Other headache remedies over the centuries included bloodletting, enemas, and ingesting mercury. Considered barbaric today, these extreme treatments are a reminder of how far headache sufferers will go to treat their pain. In 1897, the world changed for headache sufferers. Felix Hoffmann, a chemist at the German drug company Bayer, synthesized sodium salicylate, the first stable and pure form of aspirin.
Aspirin first became available in the late part of the 19th century, and it clearly worked for headache long before we understood why.
For over a century, aspirin has been a wonder drug for headache sufferers. But today, there are a myriad of other drugs to choose from. Americans spend more than $1 billion each year on aspirin and other over-the-counter pain relievers to treat headache. I decided it was time to find out a little more about these pain relievers.
Let me just explain to you some of the differences between some of the medications. On this shelf here, we have a lot of...
There are three major non-prescription pain relievers: aspirin, ibuprofen, and acetaminophen. It is believed that aspirin and ibuprofen work by suppressing prostaglandins, hormone-like substances found throughout the body. In the brain, prostaglandins inflame and sensitize nerve fibers, as well as dilate blood vessels, causing pain.
We also have acetaminophen. This has some pain relief as well.
Acetaminophen works in the central nervous system to reduce pain, but does not affect prostaglandins. So, what should you take for your occasional headache? Well, aspirin is a good place to start, but it can be hard on the stomach, so don't take it if you are prone to ulcers or have a bleeding disorder, because aspirin inhibits blood clotting. Ibuprofen is also effective, but like aspirin, it can also damage the stomach. Then there's acetaminophen. It's not hard on your stomach, but mixed with alcohol, it can be hard on your liver. No matter what drugs you take, follow the instructions carefully and check with your doctor, because many of these pain relievers can have serious, even deadly side effects. Barbara Morse knows firsthand the dangers pain relievers pose in the pursuit of headache relief.
I've been getting a migraine or some sort of a headache almost every single day for 3 or 4 weeks. It was a headache I would wake up with. I could always get rid of it, and then I'd wake up with another headache the next morning.
Barbara began taking 4 ibuprofen a day in an attempt to break her headache cycle. After 3 weeks of self-medication, she began to feel the side effects.
I'd had a very busy weekend, been out to dinner a couple of times, been to brunch with friends, and I came home on Sunday afternoon and decided I'd do a little gardening landscaping. And went outside to just put some plants in. Wasn't doing much heavy work, but I needed to turn the soil over. And I had a trowel and I had a shovel, and realized that even just picking up one shovelful of dirt and turning it over to loosen the soil was really difficult for me to do. And then I'd make one hole and go to try and put the plant in it, and just leaning over to pick up the trowel, I almost passed out. I think if I had gone another 24 hours, that I probably would have passed out.
Weak and pale, Barbara immediately went to the emergency department at Emerson Hospital in Concord, Massachusetts. Barbara had blood drawn and underwent an endoscopic exam. Using a long, flexible tube with a tiny camera attached, doctors examined her stomach. The tests uncovered a grave situation. Barbara had lost over half of her blood volume. Barbara underwent a life-saving transfusion of 4 pints of blood. If she had delayed going to the hospital much longer, there is a chance that her overuse of ibuprofen could have killed her. What Barbara didn't know is that aspirin and ibuprofen not only inhibit prostaglandins in the brain, which stops headaches, they also inhibit prostaglandins in the stomach, leaving the stomach lining unprotected. When prostaglandins are suppressed, gastric acids can burn through the stomach lining and expose blood vessels in the stomach wall. Blood then leaks into the stomach and passes through the digestive tract. This is a bleeding gastric ulcer, and a key warning sign is dark, tar-like stool.
But I didn't have any other obvious signs that I wasn't feeling well. And if I was tired or if I was something else, I attributed that simply to the fact that I'd had a headache that morning.
Barbara's is a cautionary tale. Even over-the-counter medications like aspirin and ibuprofen must be used cautiously. Always follow the package instructions and consult your doctor if you are taking them for more than 7 consecutive days.
Even as I look back and I think about that weekend, it's hard for me to believe that I was as sick as I was, and I really didn't realize it, even when they sent me to the emergency room. I think we don't get reminded enough about what the risks are from over-the-counter medications. We figure it's over-the-counter, it must be totally safe.
Author Jane Hosey-Bunar has her own classic migraine story. Hers is the unending search for an effective treatment.
The first migraine I got was in graduate school when I was 25. I remember just lying in a shade-drawn room for hours, sometimes wrapping a belt or a scarf around my head because I didn't know any other way to control the pain.
For migraine sufferers, controlling disabling pain is often a struggle unlike any other they've faced. There's no one single drug that works for everyone, and finding the right combination is usually a long-term pursuit.
When I first started to get migraines, they were so bad I hadn't seen a doctor about them. I didn't actually know they were migraines initially, and I would take over-the-counter painkillers to treat them. And eventually, I needed more and more over-the-counter painkillers, so I'd have a whole week where I was taking 20 to 25 pills in a day just to kill the pain.
Using the pain relievers on a daily basis was not only dangerous, it actually perpetuated her headaches. While they alleviated pain for a few hours, when the drugs wore off, she suffered rebound headaches.
A lot of medication overuse is simply driven by desperation. The patients don't know what else to use or what else to do.